Yes, welcome back, and let's get the show on the road. Access to such basic services as education, primary health care, electricity, and motorable roads are prerequisites for effective human development with a whole lot of wide-reaching effects on the citizenry. Effective leadership puts together and pursues programs that are sustainable and avoid disjointed mode of planning. Good governance encourages inclusion in all aspects and bridges the gap between the leaders and the led. It breaks the us and them dichotomy that has long characterized governance. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome three gentlemen. Mr. Abiodun Bamidele, who is a social commentator. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Norua Edokwala, a development expert.
Morning, always a pleasure.
As well as Mr. Alfred Kemepado, Secretary General, Ijaw Youth Council.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Governance and the challenge of effective service delivery. We always complain about governance in our nation, Norua. What things do you think are missing? Well, maybe the list is long.
It's a long list. And for me, I think one of the key things is there's a vital link between the government and the governed. And so what you find is that government is doing what it thinks the people want, how it thinks it should be done, when it thinks it should be done. And the people are somewhere else in their own world. And they hardly ever meet. And when they do, there's friction. You know, if you look at all the points at which we touch government, all right? Is it the police? Is it the tax officials? Is it any of the touch points between the citizenry and the government? There are issues. You know, and so you have that ongoing conflict. And you just wonder that, you know, could there be a meeting point? Even the, you know, electioneering, which is supposed to be that meeting point, it's almost like teleguided, you know. We're not, here we are very close to elections. We're not talking about our needs. We're not discussing our issues. We're not discussing those things that are key to us. Rather, it's all about, you know, them and et cetera, et cetera. So that's the divide. And in countries, in other climes where you see there's a direct link between the governed and the government. There's a direct link, you know, so that's missing here. And we've got to find ways to bridge the gap consciously, you know, such that those who are governing us recognize that they are governing us at, you know, we are the boss. The people are supposed to be, you know, the ones dictating. But unfortunately, the people are not even in the picture. They're not in the room where, you know, things are being shared. And if anything gets to the people and discuss, it's just the crumbs. Yes. You know, so.
Alfred, this is a very important issue and brings to mind our representatives. He said, we are supposed to be the center of all of this. So we should actually be able to sit down with our representatives and discuss the issues we want them to take to the center and pursue on our behalf. How many of us know the offices of our senators?
How many of us know
who
representatives?
Who our reps are, how we can meet them, where we can sit down with them and talk the issues we want them to raise on our behalf?
Basically, when you say the offices of our senators, let's redefine it this way. The office of the senator doesn't actually mean a particular geographical location with a particular building. The real office... It
could do.
It could do. No, as much as it's important, the real office of the senator is how he is able to represent your issues at the level you have elected him to do so. And that comes back to what he said about the we. The most important content in this conversation is the we, because now when you X-ray the old chain, practically you may say that those who are representing us, the majority of those who are representing us today, 20 years ago, probably was in the class of the we have described here. By that I mean probably they were not even representing us. They were just probably doing some other stuff. So they were part of this society that is being cheated or that is not being represented well. So, and today they are representing us. So that comes back to we again. The we is that how have we been able to put ourselves together as a country, as a people? How have we been able to sacrificially put ourselves together to ensure that those are the aim of affairs, whether in representative capacities or in executive capacities or in any other capacities, are those who have willingly elected to do so. And they are doing so without being selfish. What I mean again is, how have we been able as a country, as a people, disciplined ourselves, mostly even in this era of vote buying, to say, okay, elections are coming, like he rightly pointed out, that elections are coming, that you, that is going to represent us, we are now electing you, we are protecting our votes to ensure that you are going there based on your credentials, not your credentials based on what you have told us, but also based on your track record and how we've been able to profile you. I think it's that mix of discipline that is missing in the country. It's the end point is what most times we concentrate on, but the whole of this process of bringing about who represents us to do what we want him to do with respect to carrying our goals forward is what is missing. Because if you look at governance at all levels and in many levels, you see that the problem is because people think selfishly. People think more of themselves. Governance is more like a commercial venture. By that I mean...
In other words, the leaders and the led are thinking of themselves.
Leaders and the led are thinking of themselves.
So instead
of thinking of ourselves. The whole picture.
Okay.
Yes, that's the problem.
Mr. Pamidele, let me just... some people have sat down and put together what they consider to be characteristics of good governance, defined in societal terms. So let me just point them out and then ask the question. So participation, rule of law, transparency, responsiveness, consensus orientation, equity, effectiveness and efficiency, accountability, strategic vision. Now, based on that, the last part where Alfred was, where he was talking about selfishness, the question will now be, do the people have a common vision of what they want or where they want to go to? But you answer that question, we'll come back from this break.